day I was at work and I was asked, do I believe if the earth is round or flat? And I thought it's common knowledge that the world is round. Apparently, I was wrong. When I came home from work that afternoon, I realized that maybe I should look into it because it is a controversial topic still. And I realized that there is actually a cult called the Flat Earthers who believe that the earth is flat instead of round. So I think it's important to understand that the earth is round because then you understand our solar system, how the sun, moon all set at different times, and how the stars align as well. According to historian from BBC, Ferdinand Magellan was the first person to attempt to circumnavigate the world. Unfortunately, he died before he was able to complete it, although his men did finish his voyage for him. Evan Andrews, the historian from BBC, wrote and discovered the men who were sailing with Magellan and found a direct quote from their journal. In September 1522, one of his ships arrived safely back in Spain, having completed a successful circumnavigation of the globe. Although there were no cameras back then or any technology, they used primary sources such as journals, pens, and papers, and anything that they could document with. In order to understand that the world is round and not flat, science have proved that the way the orbit of the moon, the planets, the setting of the stars, the moon, and the sun contribute to the world being round. Dating back to BC times, Pluto was a Greek philosopher and his student was Aristotle. Together they configured that the earth was not flat and indeed round. Pluto first claimed that the way the stars and moon set at night proves that the world is round. A direct quote from him said, "When the moon phases through the shadow, it is always the circle shadow of a sphere." So if you look at the way the moon is, if you look at the sky at night and you understand that the stars that we all see are completely different, it tells you that the world is on a circle circumference, because the land, if we were all to see the same stars at night, the world would be flat. A quote from Daniel Loxton: "Quite a small change of position to south and north significantly changed the stars which are overhead, and the stars are seen differently once one moves northward and once the other moves southwards. This is the same for when ships can be hidden from views by curvature of the horizon, so can stars." So Daniel Loxton was trying to prove the point that when you see the stars at night, you also see a curvature in the horizon, and the horizon is where the earth and the sky meet. So he's saying that when you're sailing on a ship, i.e. Ferdinand Magellan and his men, you could see that their ships were going further away and they were at a curvature. In order for us to see all the same stars at night, though, the world would have to be at a curvature as well. So different regions of the world see the sun and moon at different regions. Students at Lehi University did an experiment based on Loxton's hypothesis, and according to one of his researchers, Melissa Hagenboom from BCB News, says, "Our observations of the stars make it evident not only is the earth circular, and it is circular in a great size." And if you look here, this is how the students captured the curvature of the earth. So that's the horizon, and you could only see that if you were further up in space. And according to Natalie Wolchover from Live Science, the world is round and can be detected by studying the sun setting and seeing the shadow it casts. So when the sun sets, you can see that there are shadows behind it, and that proves that the world is also round. And Erie Checkett from American Physical Society stated, "Earth casts a shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse, and different constellations are visible at different latitudes." So when you're thinking of summer solstice, winter solstice, when you look at the sun at a certain time, you can see that the moon casts a shadow over it in a circular motion. And then the flat earthers say that yes, they think that the moon is flat, they think that the earth is flat, but they don't disregard the climate change. and another scientist believe, Natalie Woltrover also says that if you believe in if you believe in climate change, then you can't believe that the world is flat, because climate change cannot occur if the world is flat. And this is a video of Aristotle and other Greek philosophers.
Figured out that the Earth is round based on several pieces of evidence, including their observations of ships going over the horizon line. The scientist Aristotle, writing in 350 BCE, noted that during an eclipse, the Earth makes a round shadow on the moon. He also realized that stars appear in different places depending on where you're standing. For example, he saw stars in Egypt that...
So all in all together, if you believe that the world is round, it makes more sense when you look at the constellation, the sun and the moon, when they're casting shadows. And flat earthers don't deny climate change, so that also proves our point that the world is round.